Hello traders, this is Blake Morrow and you're listening to the daily Roundup webinar. I hope everybody's having a great trading session thus far. It's actually been pretty lackluster trading session for the most part. Let me talk about a few things that are what I saw as developing here. And really I want to focus a little bit on the euro dollar. So if you're looking at the euro, we have an inverted head and shoulder pattern that is playing out. Now we did peak today above this resistance, and I was long the euro, took it off earlier this morning, and you know, I figured we were going to sell off and pull back to the 111.80 level. And if you use ForexAnalytix, the analysis was out earlier this morning when we were trading up at this 112 level that we're going to pull back to 111.80 and bounce. Now that's happened. It's already taken place. So as you can see, we have done this. Question is, do we go up here? Are we pretty much done? My 2 cents is it's probably just going to consolidate. We're just not seeing a lot of volatility at this moment. So my assumption is that we're gonna just be looking at something that you know, looking at just some sideways price action. What I'm hoping happens going into Asian trade. Now let's think ahead a little bit. Let me delete that. Let's think ahead a little bit and let's think about like the data that's coming out. The data that's coming out overnight. So we're going to have European CPI, right? We have Eurozone CPI coming out tomorrow morning. It's going to be at 3 a.m. my time, so 5 a.m. Eastern. Yeah, I guess 5 a.m. Eastern. The market's looking for a pretty steep print for flash CPI. They're looking at 1.3% year over year, and so that could come in maybe a little. Well, let's just say I'm gonna hope it's below expectations. I'm not an economist, so I'm not gonna sit here and try to give you some sort of prediction on what I think the data is going to be. I'm just hoping it's going to be a little lighter than expectations, and that might allow for the euro to come back down a little bit. This is, in my opinion, the 111.80 area is very pivotal, and it's going to be pivotal going into Asian trade tonight. So this, you can see its previous resistance, the neckline. It's going to be a big area for bulls to defend. And like I said, I'm hoping that we kind of break down a little bit and you maybe trade back to the 111.50 towards channel support. That's what I'm hoping for. Now, what I'm hoping for versus what we get, well, is to be seen. I'll tell you that I'll be getting up tomorrow morning after the inflation data, and hopefully we are selling off a little bit, because I'd be looking to buy the euro on any dip down towards 111.50, 111.40. The flip side of that is if we do, you know, get a stronger inflation print, we could very easily be trading back up at these highs. So if you are short the euro dollar, you got to be, you know, thinking along those lines, in my opinion. The pound hasn't really done a whole lot. The pound's, you know, I mean, we've rallied off the lows, but we've been consolidating most of the day. The Aussie, on the other hand, you know, the Aussie's been trading heavy, and we're coming back down towards, you know, this is the big support zone. I've been talking a lot about it. If you were listening to the FACE webinar earlier this morning, I'm looking at this entire zone as being, you know, very, very key support. If you are a bear and you think we're going lower, you probably want to wait for a break below the, you know, 69-cent level, and a nice solid break below, you know, 69, 69.10 probably is going to usher in some more Aussie dollar selling. One of the currencies that I'm actually quite surprised is that is as weak as it is the dollar Canadian. And the reason why I want to talk about this is, A, we're at support, and I did tweet about it earlier. So A, we're at support, but one of the reasons why I'm surprised that we've turned lower here is that crude oil is, you know, near its lows of the session. Now it is still positive on the day. So if you look at, let me go to a daily chart really quick, and I'm going to pull up crude. Give me a moment to put this data out, or put the chart up, you'll notice that we have a, what could end up being a gravestone doji, especially if we close at the lows. Then it's going to be, seen as a big false breakout, right? And if that happens, then I would expect the Canadian weakens a little bit. One of the reasons why I'm not surprised that the dollar Canadian is heavy is because we are below a major multi-year broken trend line. So any bounce that you see in the dollar Canadian, from these levels, I think any bounce is going to be limited. Didn't mean to draw it like that. I think that if you do end up getting a bounce here in the dollar Canadian because of, weaker crude, I would say that the bounces are going to be fairly limited. 30.50 might cap it. You might, if you get really lucky, get all the way up to 131. But I think that while we're below that broken trend line, that there's no real reason to be on the long side of the dollar Canadian for an extended period of time. But the other thing to think about is going into this Friday. Going into this Friday is the Canadian jobs report. If for some reason we get a strong U.S. report, weak Canadian jobs report, and that puts us back above 131, I don't think I'd want to be on the short side anymore. So what I'm trying to say is, while we're below 131, you might want to look to sell in the rallies if we get them. If we can get a little bit of a rally, especially if crude oil continues to weaken and the Canadian starts to weaken a little bit, we might get a move higher in the pair. Then you might just look to sell in the rallies ahead of the data on Friday, because I wouldn't want to have any Canadian or US dollar, or you could just say US dollar Canadian. I don't want any exposure going into Friday, not unless I happen to get into a trade. Like, let me just draw that out for you. Like, let's say that this is today, here's tomorrow, Wednesday, and then it turns like that, and then I happen to get US dollar Canadian short at 131 ahead of Friday, and Friday we're sitting here, then I would be willing to hold on to a position, short the US dollar Canadian, but because then I'm sitting in a profit. But I definitely don't want any dollar Canadian exposure that's not profitable going into Friday. All right. The other thing I will talk about before I let you guys go is the dollar yen. So the dollar yen is strong, and we are pushing up into what I consider very key resistance. I sold a little dollar yen at 108.40. This is previous support. 108.50 is the 38% retracement. Let me highlight this fib just so you guys can see it a little bit better. Okay. So you can see 108.50 is the 38%. Previous support is acting as current resistance right now. As I had been mentioning, and I think I even mentioned it on the Face webinar this morning, this analysis on the, oh, no, I guess I did not. I did not mention, I was talking to the guys and gals in the chat room. We were at 161% extension, allowing it to bounce up into the, into the 30-40 level where we're currently at. And this should be pretty good resistance. Remember, the yen was strong despite the stock market rallying into new all-time highs. Okay, so right now we're still, the stock market kind of recovered. You see the Nasdaq's up, the Russell's up, the Dow's still down, the S&P's still down, but we're getting a bounce in U.S. equities, and we got a bounce in yields. So getting a bounce in yields, getting a bounce in equities off of the lows has allowed the dollar yen to recover, but now we're just recovering right to right to really key resistance. And so I think you got to be really careful with longs. If you manage to get long off of these lows, you got to be a little careful with the dollar yen, between where we're currently at and all the way up to 108.50. I think we're going to start to struggle up here. All right. I did short some euro yen. I'm underwater a little bit, but I shorted some dollar yen, at a little bit higher than where we're currently at. So the euro yen, I think we have a big double top brewing, and I think we're just working off the oversold conditions, which you can see here. I think we're eventually going to be making our way lower towards 119 and change. But guys and gals, remember for constant updates, and if you want to know where I'm at all day long, I'm in the ForexAnalytix chat room. The ForexAnalytix chat room, as you can see, is right here. This is myself. There's Polly. All the talking. All the charts that we upload, all the analysis, and that's basically where you're going to find me. And to be part of the ForexAnalytix community, if you're using the premium subscription, which is $120 a month, you can get to the chat room right here and you can be involved in our chat. So, and remember, while you're trying out ForexAnalytix, you can be involved in the chat room as well. So guys and gals, thanks for listening in. My name is Blake Morrow. As you see right here, I'm your host of the Daily Roundup webinar. I'll catch you tomorrow at the same time, same bat channel. Have a great one, and thanks for tuning in today.